Wow, okay, wow, I caught it. That's really great. Yeah. Really wouldn't have minded more opportunities to save Lapis, but okay, I guess I'm in the Sylvie situation again. Lapis aside, Samurai Chizuru. Her associated banners are pretty familiar. 28,000 Lapis for 6 stats and additional rewards, and 9,000 Lapis for 2 tickets and a free summon with slightly increased rates. Let's take a look at the Step Up banner first. The awards really start at Step 4, where you'll get a guaranteed Neo Vision unit from each step onwards. Now, getting the featured unit from these guaranteed summons is impossible. At least it is for me. Unless of course I don't care about the featured units at all, then they haunt my dreams. On the other hand, make your way through all 6 stats and by the end of it you'll get a nice vision card with a mystery man. However, if you don't want to be a weirdo who carries around a picture of a stranger with them, you can always just do this banner 4 times in the first 2 steps of this one for a cheaper cost of 43,000 Lapis as opposed to 46,000. But whatever, who cares, I can't afford this, so let's see what I'll likely be missing. Samurai Chizuru is a physical damage dealer and a supporter of a regular Brave Shift. This is new. We've never had a single featured global original Neo Vision unit without a true Brave Shift. Next thing you know, they'll start releasing super limit burst units, oh no! Regardless, not having a true Brave Shift doesn't necessarily mean she'll be bad, but there are more limits when it comes to its turn duration and cooldown, especially when you have to work around them. We'll check out her cute sounding vision card later. Let's go to her Trustmaster Rewards. First is a materia with 3 different passives, but there are certain limitations. The first is limited to Final Fantasy Brave Exvius units, the second is limited to Chizuru, and the third, well, everyone gets the third. The first looks to be a weak physical killer but against all species, the second nullifies attack breaks which shouldn't be that difficult to deal with, and the third is a regular 60% attack boost. Given how we're normally just going up against dual species enemies, usually 1-on-6, players generally value killers of greater magnitude over variety. Still, it's just a Trustmaster reward, so let's look at her Super Trustmaster reward. A 2-handed katana, which I'm not sure if it's been ever referenced. Regardless, it has high attack, and when equipped to Chizuru gives her a whopping 1000 attack, and when equipped to anyone else gives a strong beast and plant killer as well as an equipment attack boost when carrying a single weapon. Let's take a sneak peek at her abilities. It looks like her Warring Spirit passive might also give her stats, but man, I can barely imagine EX plus 1 for me. You think I'll be considering EX plus 2? Her active abilities seem to have the theme of self-sacrifice to them. The first one looks like it demands a lot of limit burst crystals to give your team a re-raise buff, MP restore, and MP regen, except that MP part might not apply to Chizuru. The second one is an attack that looks to dedicate itself towards her limit burst damage, giving her associated buff, filling her limit burst gauge, reducing wind resistance, and scaling with morale. Speaking of damage, as a new global original unit who will likely work with wind, Chizuru will be facing immense competition from Wylk. This doesn't look good either way. If she's stronger than Wylk, then it really undermines the future value of global original premium units. And if she's weaker than Wylk, well, she's weaker than Wylk. Wylk is a pretty powerful unit too, not only boasting strong damage, but also strong breaks and strong killers. Though that last one can't be used that often, so Chizuru's support aspect will be critical in establishing her usefulness. Let's look at the Neo Vision cards. A Happy Family is super cute, and its attack stat is nice as well. Its first passive buffs both attack and defense, don't know where defense came into play for anyone here. The second nullifies stop and grants a guts buff, and the third is a short-lived happiness. Whoa, that's gutsy! Morbid jokes aside, the third passive is limited to units from Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, but in exchange anyone from that game gets an extra 500 attack and a passive killer buff against all species. Combine this with the card's other features and it's very good for a great amount of characters, as opposed to her Trustmaster reward which didn't have much to support its variety. The second vision card, Lone Swordsman, is only available through spending Lapis. Of course, it might be available again in the future, but likely won't for a while. This vision card actually has less attack than Chizuru's, so it's not a great look, and the HP stat won't really offset this. So we turn to its passives, where the first is a passive and flat stat boost for both HP and attack without any restrictions. The second gives a tremendous beast and plant killer and boosts limit burst damage by 50%, again without any restrictions. And the third is a cooldown ability which hits the enemy. That's going to really depend on its damage modifier. But even if it's great at first, we already see past examples of external finishers that are used for their passives rather than their damage. It gets even worse if the damage modifier is actually good, because later players likely won't have access to it and have few ways to mimic it, which is pretty significant when it comes to ranking events. Well, anyways, that's only if it's good, so the third, Memories of Akstar. This one is free, when you log in on the third day of this week's campaign. The attack is just decent, the first passive requires a katana, the second doesn't but is pretty poor on its own, and the third one gives 1000 attack so long as the unit is Awakened Dragon Akstar. No, not anyone else, just the Awakened Dragon Akstar. If they wanted to make a card to buff him, they'd need to add a lot more than just attack. The Clash of Wills boss revealed. It's the Janhasfara. What is this, a pass race? It sounds interesting, but what's its lexical history? Come on, there's got to be a reference, right? Google Translate says it might be Hindi, but I don't know anything about that, so if anyone can tell me anything, go ahead. As a beast in insect fusion, I'm kinda surprised I didn't consider a manticore, which, well, in my defense, rarely incorporated insects, but, it doesn't look as freaky as— oh my gosh, that's terrifying! The scorpion tail is just comical and hard to take seriously, but there's something horrifying about that face. So yeah, great job of the design, let's never talk about this again, and now you can exchange for a second Clash of Wills ring. That's not a bad take, especially if you've already bought the recipes for the first ring, so now you can just make a second. It looks like they're releasing new recipes too. Either that or I just completely ignored the other options that weren't chain limit boosts. Let's see what we've got. Passive stat boost, likely nope. Extra morale regen, hopefully that isn't needed. Boost jump damage, burst damage, and Esper parameters, that's a lot to worry about and not enough to cover. This one is a killer buff against 3 different species, and the last one is mechanically the same thing but has rust. There really isn't one standout option here, so I guess it'll have to be the extra damage passives or killers. Obnoxious drop. Okay, but seriously, do you expect me to call them Spark? Gale? Whatever the red one was? The units we've got lined up for this exchange are Maeve, Frisia, Zidane, Lightning, Ling, and Luna Freya. These aren't really new units, a bit of a surprise compared to previous lineups. Ling and Maeve are still really good. Frisia is a strong win support for maybe Chizuru, but is less valuable anywhere else. Lightning is free. Zidane's Super Trustmaster Reward is now less valuable since global original units are wild. And Luna Freya was released over a year ago. But maybe the equipment is more valuable, let's look at that. Seaweed Slayer, I'm getting this one for sure. Boosts both attack and magic and gives a double killer against plants and aquatics. Indeed, that's Seaweed. The second, Cold Current, boosts magic, grants a small MP regen, and boosts ice and lightning resistance by 80%. Not much variety, but those are big numbers, so it could still be pretty good. Also, the fact you can't get them anywhere else is pretty convincing. July's Equipment Enhancement event with the Forgotten Ceremonial Blade. We just got a free Ceremonial Blade. This one is actually pretty good for this Clash of Wills, especially if you're just starting out. Morgana in the Vortex. Oh nice, a new addition to the Chamber of the Vengeful, I like this fights. These challenges reward you for each time you clear the fight according to the number of unique units you bring, which is a system that incentivizes you to use the 50 good units in your inventory of thousands as opposed to just 5. There's also a campaign according to the number of clears for this fight, with up to 3,000 free lapis given in likely September. So that would be too late for Chizuru, Regardless, it could still go towards anything else that's happening then. And besides, the awards from the fight itself are actually pretty good. Oh, you can get Xenostone shards from this challenge too. The story continues. Did you know they released a Tyvus Ish tag team unit in Japan? The Friend Point Daily Fragment Summon. You know what? I'm just hoping for a lightning fragment to end my suffering here. The post-6th anniversary Neovision guaranteed step-up summon and ticket exchange (Neovision Fragment Select 6th anniversary and banner) is also here. Spend 28,000 lapis to get 66 units with 10 of them guaranteed to be in Neovision. You also get stuff like half a Super Trust Mugo, another half a Super Trust Mugo, a Transcension Pearl, Mystery Crystals, and a ticket to exchange for certain unit fragments. There is a little asterisk that says not every Neovision fragment is available with this ticket, so be sure to keep that in mind. On the other hand, one of those Neovision units is guaranteed to be a premium unit. Oh, it's the same thing as the last one, isn't it? Oh, what? Chizuru will be in the pool too? Either way, again, it's still a decent banner, especially if you're a new player, but I can't afford it. Oh well. Miscellaneous updates. Staff Mastery, that's cool, but 4 new intrinsic abilities! And they're still free? That's incredible! Not to mention the last 2 were pretty significant for their units, so let's see who's lined up here. Starlight Elena gets more offensive stats and damage buffs. Yoshikiri gets team-wide 400% stat buffs, a 300% limit burst damage buff, a 200% killer buff against humans and machines for 1 ally, and a throwing weapon in peril. Hey, Yoshikiri was already amazing with his EX Awakenings. Sky gets a big attack buff, powerful killers, and damage modifier buffs. Oh, that should be useful. Gives her a better kick outside of Clash of Wills, and hopefully magnifies her strong performance there as well. Oliveira looks to be receiving a similar ability for his damage performance, so I'm glad I used my obnoxious drop boogers on him. Wow, that was disgusting. Oh yeah, Chizuru's exchange shop, what do we have here? Yeah, you'll probably just want to get her fragments. The 6th Anniversary Login Bonus 2. What do we have here? A ticket exchange for specific unit fragments, Lapis, Akstar's Vision Card, Lapis, fragments, Lapis, tickets, Lapis. Ooh, 3,000 Lapis. Masterful Mother Login Bonus, okay, and maintenance. So overall, a lot of cool stuff, lots of free stuff, lots of exciting stuff, and I still don't have enough Lapis. Why are we here again?